each traveller sees with different eyes. Welcome to Roadwarden, a game about a Roadwarden that we are going to explore together. Everyone knows to stay away from the wilderness. Most people would never risk a lonely journey. Roadwardens not only accept this struggle, they embrace it. They deliver messages, assist merchants, burn human corpses, and, if possible, get rid of the beasts and highwaymen. They live on the road, die young, or retire early. It's a dangerous job, but a respectable one, and it pays well. I leave the safety of the city walls. We're going to be going for the standard difficulty this time around, which has a 40-day time limit and a regular rule set. The wall is still standing. There are no wolves around, no stench of blood. Good signs. This should be the place you're looking for. You were supposed to meet with a group of soldiers, but you hear no voices, no sounds of labour. The gate is ajar, but the camp isn't safe. It may keep away the goblins and pebblers, but not beast folk nor trolls. And the night is near. Your palfrey breathes heavily. It had a long day. I need to look around, cautiously. Considering the noise, you doubt that anyone noticed the clatter of hooves. The short, dry grasses barely cover the arid soil of this valley, but you're maybe a minute away from the edge of the sparse woods, which get denser as they climb up the hills. At best, this trail has a few more years before getting overgrown for good. Hard to believe it's the only route north. I dismount and sneak to the gate. Let's peek inside. Your heavy boots hit the ground, and the pain of the long ride finally catches up with you. You stretch out, bringing your back and legs comfort. All you want now is a table, a decent chair, a nice mug of beer, and some warm stew. With any luck, your axe won't be needed here. I approach the gate slowly. Take care of yourself. If you're hurt or exhausted, some actions won't be available to you. The weaker you are, the higher the chance you'll die in combat. If it's a military camp, it doesn't look the part. Plenty of wasted space. The fire pit is cold. Two people are sitting at the table, tired and disheartened. They're looking in different directions, paying no attention to one another. One of them is holding a cup. After a moment, you notice the quiet humming. You recognize the melody of a light-hearted drinking song from the city harbour. They don't look like much of a threat. I can enter. It takes them a few breaths to glance in your direction. The first person greets you with a wave of his hand. There are bags under his eyes, his beard is messy. Despite his simple shirt, he's wearing durable, decent boots. A mace, with a head covered in iron, hangs at his side, but he doesn't reach for it. I take a look at the second soul. Just like you, she's wearing a gambeson, but hers is a bit loose, as if she took it off a corpse. Her head is shaven as if she's protecting herself from flesh-eating bugs. Her eyes are weary, yet kind. She smiles. Considering the squad was sent here half a year ago, these two surely look the part. Though there should be more of them. 8, you believe. I let them speak first. It's nice to see an unharmed traveller in this godforsaken shithole. Makes me just a tiny bit hopeful. The bearded man's voice is strong, yet timid. You'll be staying the night with us, I guess. We're soldiers, he and I, adds the armoured woman. Her voice switches from half asleep to relaxed. We'll do our best to keep the camp safe, but if you were to take the first watch, it would be a huge help. Travellers ought to help each other, wouldn't you say? You think for a moment. To fully rest, you'd need a good sleep. Sure. Leave it to me. Fantastic. She rubs her hands together. I don't remember the last time I had more than half a night of sleep. The hours before midnight should be the calmest. Just wake us up if anything happens. The man flashes you a wide smile. It's easy to wake us up. Just yell. He drinks from his mug. I ask them about their lieutenant. You wonder how to phrase your question. When you meet new people, you can influence how they perceive you by selecting one of the attitudes. Friendly, supportive and cordial. Playful, joke or witty comment. Distanced, hide your emotions. Intimidating, hint at a threat. Vulnerable, be sad, tired, afraid, or hopeless. I was hoping to meet with your lieutenant. Could we talk for a bit? The woman lets out a loud sigh, dusts off her gambeson, and steps towards you. She pays little attention to the sword at her side. We most definitely can, you and I, though holding this rank is still somewhat new to me. Are you a messenger? Did you lose your mount? She observes you with curiosity. Or are you looking for help? I'm your new Roadwarden. My horse is waiting outside. Really? The soldier in the shirt leans forward. That explains how you got here in one piece, all by yourself. Better bring your beast here, adds the lieutenant. We have no hay, but I bet it dreams of dropping its saddle. A long pause. I'm Tulia, by the way. She reaches out her hand. I shake her hand. We'll go with my name. Josh. Her grasp is confident, the shake is slight. Just keep your horse away from the tents, she steps away. We don't need to smell its dung. There's this one issue. The soldier in the shirt also rises to his feet. We've no tent to spare. You'll have to use a blanket or something. No problem. I enjoy observing the stars. You walk through the gate. Your mount looks around and snorts anxiously. Not many humans could ride a horse. It's not only taller than you, but also bulky, as heavy as it is strong. You can get in the saddle within a single breath, but most people wouldn't know where to even begin. From every side, it's a wall of flesh. Horses were brought to the Dragonwoods from the conquests in the south. They can trot for a long time, but won't outrun some of the local monsters. Your palfrey needs you to survive, but without it, you too would be lost. It's my only companion here. I want it to feel at ease. It takes a few steps toward you, scolding you with another snort. You scratch the bottom of its neck, with strength and confidence, just the way it likes it. Humans see useful animals, and even pets, as monsters in disguise. Getting emotionally attached to them is believed to lead humans to their doom. But you know that horses need companionship. I speak to it gently and lead it to the camp. You end up next to the fire pit. Removing the saddle makes the horse nicker with relief. You take a couple of minutes to examine its back, just in case. While the riding equipment is not that heavy for such a strong animal, with enough time, it starts to chafe. You You wish it had something better to eat than the shabby grass. You should look for an inn. I need to unpack. You haven't brought many things. And you lost one of the sacks while fleeing the Crimson Corpse Eaters. Worst of all, you have no rope left. But maybe the soldiers could share you one. Shouldn't cost more than a dragon bone. Aside from the travel set, you own a few valuable possessions, essential for your trade. I carry writing instruments and alchemical ingredients, as well as an iron axe, a worn gambeson, and a small healing potion. You unpack and inspect your belongings. Your water skin isn't pierced, the spare clothes are still here. Just in case, you take a look at your wooden bowl and mug, your cape, tinderbox, bandages, food rations, knife. Nothing special or too cumbersome. From time to time, your routine helps you avoid mistakes, but this doesn't make it any more exciting. Open your inventory to see your possessions. Unless you're occupied with another task, you can eat food, drink potions, and use your items from this menu. Be sure to click on each new item you receive, as some of them can have unusual applications. Food rations. They consist of dried meat, crackers, nuts, seeds, fruits, and water, which spoil slowly and don't require additional cooking. The fresh snacks spoil fast outside of a cellar, while long-lasting foods are either expensive, like honey or dried meat, or require cooking before consumption, like beans or grains. Most travellers spend their nights in taverns, huts, and villages, where they can trade for cheap, warm meals, or even eat leftovers for free. As a result, food rations are eaten only when necessary. A small healing potion. A set of earthenware bottles that contain small amounts of magical concoctions. You recognize a magical potion when you see one. It has a tall wax seal, inside of which there's a thin stick, enabling a swift opening. According to what you've heard, it's a healing potion, but you estimate that it's not enough to heal an entire shell. Healing potions may be the most desired liquid in the Dragonwoods, especially among travelers, hunters, and fighters. A pouch with coins. The city artisans make coins by cutting dragon bones into slices. They're valued by merchants, though rarely used in the countryside. When it comes to trade, there's barely any connection between Hovlevan's marketplaces and the inns of the countryside. While city officials keep track of the value of different goods and oversee the legitimacy of used coins, the villagers prefer to barter or exchange their resources for work and other favours. A single coin is worth quite a lot among merchants. It allows you to stay and eat in a shoddy city tavern for about 5 days. For 10 coins, you'd buy a decent bow. For 20, a sword. And for 100, a squad of mercenaries will be willing to face a family of trolls. A gambeson, a padded defensive jacket made of linen filled with rags. It's the cheapest type of armor, yet surprisingly effective, and as a result, very common. Padded jackets are an essential piece of any armor set. They protect the wearer's chest, abdomen, arms, and thighs. The lighter jackets, called akatons, are worn under heavier sets made of alloys or chitin, while the thicker ones, known as gambesons, are worn alone. They're relatively easy to make, and while not all travellers can afford them, or wear them for hours without getting tired, they're commonly used by guides, mercenaries, and soldiers. Your armor's not in best shape and could use some additional work. Alchemical ingredients. To brew new potions, you need to find suitable tools and some undisturbed time. Brewing's difficult, and your alchemical skills, whilst humble, are valuable. They include a bundle of black woundwort, a cave-ear mushroom, a snake-bait flower, a jar of cursed soil, a piece of flower-looking driftwood, a collection of fresh, rare herbs, bog friend, a mushroom found at the wetlands, a basalt rock powdered at the top of a mountain, and a bunch of marsh balls. Alchemy is meant to fill liquids with pneuma, replacing the required power and the mastery of spells with special ingredients, rituals, and instruments. Your collection includes rare liquids, plants, rocks, and animal remains. It's not enough to brew a powerful mixture, but without them, even the most expensive workroom would be of little use. Finding new ingredients takes a bit of courage, but it's also a part of your daily routine. Whenever you find something interesting growing near a road, you gather it for later use, just in case. Because of that, you also know the basics of herbalism, a less spectacular art, which allows you to achieve predictable results without depending on unreliable pneuma. The travel set. Your sacks contain all sorts of useful tools, all sorts of odds and ends that you've taken on this journey just in case. A rainproof cloak, a set of bone needles and a thread, an iron knife, a blade sharpener, a tinderbox and a couple of tallow candles, a bunch of rags used to make torches, as well as a flask of oil, a pair of protective gloves made of thick leather. Writing instruments. Parchment scrolls kept in tubes, ink, quills, and wax tablets with a bone stylus. Most northerners are illiterate, but they are happy to meet someone who can write a letter in their name. Most people in the Dragonwoods don't need to know how to read or write. The lessons are time-consuming and often expensive. The exchange of written text is practiced among people who need to create complex, exact documents and keep them in good condition for years or even centuries. This group includes priests, lawyers, inventors, officials, richer merchants, and high-ranking military chieftains. Less than 10% of society is literate, and the major part of this group lives in the cities. A simple battle axe. Travelling with an axe shows that you've learned how to fight humans and human-sized monsters. It's not masterfully made, but it's already been put to the test, and you've practiced with it for many days. Axes made of metals or alloys are among the most common weapons used by travellers. Not as safe as spears, not as fancy as swords, but their powerful strikes can get through animal shells, scales, or thick furs, as well as most armours. They're not great when it comes to parrying, but a single strike may be enough to leave a devastating wound. Still, the vast majority of them are used by lumberjacks, farmers, or carpenters, and pretty much every household in the countryside owns at least one, just in case. Their shapes, sizes, and used materials vary. Heads are made of stone, especially flint, bones, chitin, and massive seashells, while handles are almost always made of wood, antlers, and leather straps. I return to the soldiers. Taking hits will damage your armour. You can then fix it in various settlements. They're at the table again, observing your beast and chatting between themselves. Your stomach growls at the sight of them eating out of wooden bowls. One more bowl was put at a previously unused end of the table. You can sit down on a tree log. I join them and take a look at the meal. It's cold gruel, the meal eaten in times of hardship. This specific bowl is filled with water, hog millet, some strange-looking cereals, and blueberries. Welcoming you with a meal, even a humble one, is beyond their duty. Soldiers live with and for their companions, constantly on the move from one part of the realm to another, making sacrifices to protect their group as they face dozens of hideous creatures. Their lives are filled with discipline, hardship, and camaraderie. Roadwardens, on the other hand, learn how to work by themselves. They seldom engage in open combat, patrolling the same roads for years. They help the settlement stay in touch, but also maintain commerce, settle down, forge friendships. When there are no laws to follow, they use their own judgment. Different responsibilities, different lifestyles. I eat quickly, not focusing on the taste, then speak with Tulia. Keeping your stomach full will make you stronger. Starvation won't allow you to restore vitality while resting. You can find your supplies in your inventory. She's focused and chooses her words carefully. She looks away only when she gathers her thoughts. I'm afraid I can tell you less than I would like to, and less than I should. She nods towards the other soldier. As you can see, there's not a lot of us left. At the beginning of summer, there were 8 of us, including our previous lieutenant. 5 are dead, and 1 has run away in tears. We are also strangers in this land, adds her companion. Any piece of information may help me do my job. The man leans forward. His legs shake nervously. He sounds like a kid asking a bard to sing one more story, tell a joke, or do a magic trick. Whatever it takes to escape from boredom. His untrimmed beard hides a much younger face than you originally thought. What did the officials tell you? I expect not that much. No soul governs these lands. I share what I consider to be relevant. You tell the soldiers how little guidance you've received. Since this area is too far away from Roadwarden to keep it under control, you were warned that it's untamed and unknown. Who knows how many villagers, bandits, or monsters may be found in these unmapped hills and forests? From time to time, new people come here to look for boundless opportunities. Most of them never return. Do they turn into walking corpses, or find what they're looking for? No soul could tell me, so I was looking for your guidance. The lieutenant drinks from her cup and crosses her legs, ankle on knee. Seeing her chair makes you doubt she'll ever find a comfortable position. Where should we start? Tulia, how did you become a lieutenant? That's not much of a story, honestly. She looks at her hand, which is currently rolling a mug over the table. In the city, there is a strict order of... what should I call it? She exchanges looks with her companion, but he can't help her. Well, leadership succession, I guess. Roadwarden chief selects commanders, those select lieutenants, and those put their soldiers in order of priority. If their lieutenant dies, they get replaced by the next soldier in line. So you were his successor? Nah, not exactly. When we fought the bandits, our lieutenant was hit by a slingshot. His boyfriend jumped to help him, but failed to protect either of them from a spell. It was like a ball of ice that hung above them and exploded, piercing their heads, completely avoiding their shield. Really unpleasant. She pauses. And you were the third one in line. Is that right? Basically, yeah, she says without enthusiasm. I didn't plan to become a leader, though. I'll get demoted once we return to the city. I prefer to follow, anyway. What was your squad's mission? The lieutenant looks into your eyes. You know, the usual. Making the roads safe, keeping people alive. I explained that it may be important for me to know what they have tried to accomplish. I can't really tell you. Let's just say it would be nice to have a reliable outpost somewhere nearby. A place where you can always find a group of fighters willing to protect you in the name of the law. She tilts her head back. Now, if you have any other questions... What should I know about the peninsula? I'll tell you what I know, and you'll be the judge, says the lieutenant. How long did it take you to get here, from the city? On a decent palfrey, I'd guess it would be 3-4 days? When you confirm, she continues. From here, you can reach the coast in about a day, as long as you don't make any stops. Do you know the situation? Why no ships can get here? You nod. The sea route allows Hovlevan officials to keep in touch with coastal villages, collect taxes, move the soldiers, collect lumber, deliver tools. But maintaining order on a wild coast such as this one is like filling the ocean depths with coins. Because of the rocks, you can hardly stop a ship 5 miles from the shore, and boats can't get much closer. She nods. I don't know much about fishing, but there's not that many people living by the shore, and they don't crave to stay in touch with the city folk. As she pauses, her companion carries on. No soul from the north ever came to the camp, but when we travel to the roadside inn, held to the north, they're happy to trade. And to play dice. Why not just stay at one of the settlements? The man clears his throat. I mean, you know, we're to guard this road. This camp is our post. And well... He turns towards Tulia. She lowers her voice. Don't take it the wrong way, Josh, but are you a devout soul? For many years, I've supported a monastery that does its best to advance mankind's spiritual growth, artistry, herbalism, and magical research. I follow the teachings of an order of truth. Oh, I see. She hesitantly looks away. I don't know much about that river of faith, but I'm sure we're not that different. I'm a Unite myself, she says with a sort of pride in her voice, though she follows the United Church. Maybe just explain what you were thinking of. The people here are disquieting. Every few words she taps the table with her finger. Their traditions won't help them negotiate with the officials. Here! She starts to draw lines with her index finger, as if she's pointing to an invisible map. The peninsula is connected with roads like a big circle. In the northwest, you'll find a weird village at a bog. It's not exactly pagan, I don't think. It even has a priest who claims to be an eremite. You nod. She means a fellowship. They do crazy shit, her companion chips in. They use the dead to cut down trees and dig in soil. Once I saw it, I never begged to return there. I see. You've heard tales such as this one since you're a child. If an isolated settlement manages to survive without a city's influence, its customs and traditions grow more and more alien. Every generation learns how to adapt to the dangerous conditions they have to deal with, and the rustic pagan traditions muddy their rivers of faith. The United Church often warns its members about the crazy druids, necromancers, and blood mages, the bringers of doom, the traitors to mankind and humankind. Were you able to speak with these necromancers? You can see why we weren't eager to go there if we could avoid it, the lieutenant chuckles. Maybe they'll be more welcoming to a Roadwarden. The road's dangerous, with little to no shelters. People need your help. The man in the shirt turns a bit and points a finger to the northwest. If you're heading to the undead village, you'll get to an inn first, and soon. Tulia nods. Impel to the north is a safe place. You can talk with the innkeep or the guards, ask them about the road. And how about the east? She stares off across the camp. Hard to tell. We went there only once. There are hills, forests, rivers. We saw a tunnel sculpted in leaves and branches, but didn't enter it. Wilderness all around. Any monster worth mentioning? Anything that could catch my mount? We saw all sorts of beasts. The man starts to count on his fingers. Goblins, treants, cats large and small, runners, howlers, wolves, spiked boars, mouflon eaters, griffins. But we managed to stay away. Some could catch up with most mounts, Tulia glances at her companion, though a palfrey should be fine. The trees are so tall that the flying creatures keep to the coast and the mountains. There's not that many humans around, and the animals are busy fighting among themselves. They fight more for food than territory. The soldier cracks his knuckles. Don't provoke them, and ride fast. Just count on luck. That's all I need to know. She nods. I'm afraid we can't do more for you. Any ideas what happened to the previous Roadwarden? Tulia takes a deep breath. Aren't you a bit late for a rescue mission? We haven't heard from him for almost half a year. The soldiers speak for a bit between themselves, trying to get their story straight. They confirm that he had stopped by their camp a few times, but stopped showing up at all in early summer. The bearded soldier starts to scratch the table with the tip of his knife, without looking at you. I don't remember his voice. Always busy, drowning in things to take care of. He would sit somewhere, sharpen his sword, fix his loud mail, clean clothes, write notes on that wax tablet of his. Yep, and leave at dawn. Unlike us, Asterion never gets bored. Tulia lets out a joyless chuckle. He's secretive, but some of the locals speak about him warmly. Maybe he just doesn't like us. Sounds like you're not sure if he's dead or not. If anyone knows, they won't tell us. Maybe someone's keeping him in a basement. The man carves with passion. We haven't seen him, or his saurian. Something ate them, I bet. The officials have hired you, right? They don't expect him to return. Richer Roadwardens often use four-legged, meat-eating saurians as their mounts. They have to be tamed and trained since their hatching, but unlike horses, can easily defend themselves from many monsters. At least your palfrey is fast and reliable, and won't suddenly sink its teeth into an innocent passerby. Do you know what he was looking for? Maybe he left you a message? Neither one of us had any insight into his dealings, said Tulia. My predecessor left me no clues. We almost took a look at Asterion's stuff. Oh wait! She raises an open palm. I almost forgot. She stands up and heads to a nearby tent. He has kids in a village near Hovlovan. I was planning to take all his things there. A pouch, a second spear, decent bows and potions. Quite a treasure, she glances at you. But I would much prefer to bring them the truth about their father. So you want me to find out what happened to him in exchange for his stuff? Here's the catch, she dusts off the hilt of her sword. We've hired a messenger to ask Amanda's for further orders. Since she hasn't returned and you know nothing about her, she either ran away or something happened to her. She sighs with resignation. We're meant to stay here until fall. What do you think? Come see us, tell us what you've learned about the man, and we'll get back to Hovlovan together. You think about your real mission. You were planning to return to Hovlovan in the early fall anyway. If he's alive, I don't think he's going to be happy about me taking away all of his possessions. True, but he's considered dead. I doubt he'd begrudge you anything. And who knows? You might just find a shell lying on the roadside tomorrow. He wears mail, uses a spear mostly, maybe 5 feet tall, but stout, long red beard, short hair, pale face, rarely smiles. She glances at her companion, but after he adds nothing, she sits down and stretches out her legs. So, find out what happened to him. Dead, alive, left. Just let me know. Use your journal to see the list of quests. find the Roadwarden. Before I became the Roadwarden of this peninsula, a man named as Asterion used to patrol these roads. If I manage to find out what happened to him and bring the news to Julia from the southern camp, I'll receive his abandoned belongings. What happened to your squad? The man shrugs. Bandits happened. And monsters. A strong band, though, his companion chips in. When we got to the peninsula in spring, we saw some people living in this camp. The lieutenant decided to avoid it and look for an inn. We had to travel through the night for a bit. The bearded soldier scoffs and crosses his arms, but she carries on. If he had decided otherwise, we all would have died that day. The innkeeper explained that the camp is a trap, that the armed ones pretend to be soldiers, stay there at night, lose everything ye have. Sounds like slave hunters. Julia sighs. Very much so. They killed some, took others away, who knows where. They were letting the northerners go, hoping to avoid their wrath. Kind of worked, adds the soldier. We asked them for help, but they refused. We had to clear the entire camp on our own, and that's why 3 of our people died. Don't exaggerate. It's not like the lieutenant didn't make a mistake. He wanted to get rid of them and take over their camp, but we didn't know our enemy well enough. We were outnumbered, and they had an ice mage among them. She looks at you. At least we cleared the road, saved lives. You mentioned monsters as well. Nothing that would surprise you. Those of us who survived the skirmish were young, too inexperienced to spend a summer in this place without a good leader, and they didn't trust me. One of them got caught by a treant. Another one ignored my orders to perform some sort of a ritual hunt, so Werebear tore her to pieces. The last one tried to act tough, didn't tell us that he'd cut his hand while cleaning his gambeson. She lets out a ghastly chuckle. We had to cut it off, and he was so ashamed that he decided to walk north, find a new life, disappear. Idiot. What a colourful journey. The man tries to drink from his mug, but it's empty. You've made this place safer. Barely. Julia seems tired. And who knows if it was worth the lives and effort. I've lost my rope. Could you spare one? You're in luck. She heads towards one of the crates and moves aside a large linen sack, revealing a rope. She brings it back and nonchalantly sits down on her chair. Take it. I was planning to leave it behind. I take a closer look. A fine rope. A regular rope made of hemp fibers. I take it and offer some food in return. Julia leans forwards and rests her forearms on her thighs, looking down with clasped hands, then meets your eyes. I normally refuse, but we need some decent food. Every day I'm searching through our growths looking for worms and putridity. We forage, but it's not a great spot. Some food rations will brighten up a foggy day. For now, you leave the rope on the table. Making a rope takes a lot of time and involves complex tools that combine thousands of fibers harvested from plants, mostly hemp, linen, or straws. Since it doesn't take much skill and can be handled even by children, it's rare to find an artisan who would specialize in twisting them all day long. Ropes are much more durable than leather strips, and are used for all sorts of things, though their durability doesn't make them a common merchandise. They can be heavy and awkward, so it's common for groups of travelers to share a single one among all of them during their journey. A winged hourglass, hidden. A steel pendant hanging from a leather strap. It's common to wear such jewelry to demonstrate one's allegiance to the right. The winged hourglass was adapted by the largest religions of the 10 cities, the United Church, the Orders of Truth, and a majority of fellowships. It's used in temples and funeral rites, but also to decorate expensive codices or pieces of clothing. Not every soul who wears such a trinket in a visible place is a devoted believer, but it can be seen as a sign of solidarity with the more conservative section of the city culture. Emblems like this one are meant to portray the ephemerality of life and the rigidity of time. The traditional pendants are made of steel, signifying the strength of humankind's determination and innovation. Rites tablets highlight the important role of iron when it came to fighting monsters, and even expanding the lands of the tribes. Other materials such as bone, gold, or even wood are also used, though various communities interpret such alterations in their own ways. The pendants made of steel are not so contentious. If you were me, where would you go next? The soldier answers quickly. To the inn, of course. He grabs his empty mug. The one northwest from here. If you can't afford the room, the main hall is free of charge. The locals rarely gather there. The northern road is much more travelled, mentions Tulia. But the hunters will tell you about this and that, and you'll have a chance to introduce yourself. The innkeeper can listen and knows many souls. Any tips on how I can make a good first impression on him? She smirks. Avoid cheap jokes, stick to trade, don't waste his time. Show him that you can be relied on. Avoid jokes, stick to trade, show that you are reliable to the innkeeper. Anything I should know about this camp? The story's brief. Some merchants built the camp to have an extra stop for mules and donkeys, just between the inn and the southern villages. There's plenty of grass here and a pond nearby. When the peninsula grew more dangerous, the camp stood abandoned, from time to time serving as a shelter for travellers. The bandits came here in spring, further paralysing the exchange of information between the northern and southern settlements. Since these highwaymen are no more, the situation may reverse. Time will tell. You can sleep here whenever you want, the man concludes their tale, though don't expect to wake up without pain in your back. It's getting late. We should prepare for the night. I agree. Tulia sighs with relief. And may you do better than Asterion did. Stay vigilant, she winks at you, shattering the mask of a soldier. Open the archive to reread the most recent text. Thank you for your help. You go to the barrel and splash water on your face, which makes you even more aware of how much you need a bath. After the night, it will only get worse. Your horse is already napping, still too anxious to lay down. Stay tidy to have a better chance to influence others. I prepare for my watch. The soldier in the shirt is eager to guide you. Just observe the area. There's plenty of griffins around, though they won't try to jump over the palisade. Probably. Better watch out for the apes. They climb up and carry out any food they can find. And there's this one really loud were-elk that keeps smelling the wall, though it's never tried to get in. He points at a gate. The lieutenant and I will block the entrances. They're quite heavy, so if anyone comes here looking for shelter, better call us to help you out. And if this someone is being chased by wolves or anything, better throw them a rope instead. He scratches its head. If it gets cold, feel free to make a fire, and the best place is on the watchtower, so you may want to put a blanket there or something. The watchtower? He gives you a long, puzzled look. Oh, here. He points at the pile of crates. Just climb up to the tallest one. You'll have a great view at the northern side, the more dangerous side. Also, I know you're tired. After all that riding, he points at the tent on the other side of the camp. I can handle a couple of hours sleeping on the ground. If you wish, Go there after me and rest, just this once. At least I have a pallet inside. I smile. Thanks a lot. You put your blanket on the tallest crate and sit down. The night is warm, but the sporadic summer breeze brings gentle refreshment. From time to time your back aches, and you have to force yourself to keep your eyes open. The light of the moon helps you focus on the tall grasses. For most of the time you spot smaller critters and birds, but there are exceptions. At one point you see 3-horned deer trying to challenge one another. Before they clash their antlers, a 2-legged dragonling appears, leading its much smaller offspring. The furry beasts try to intimidate the predators with roars and aggressive head movements. After a few moments, both sides walk away slowly, not willing to risk the fight, nor to admit their defeat. I don't let it distract me. I keep looking around. You hear the death screams of distant prey and the mating calls of monkeys. Runners are chasing a grey hare. A group of musk oxen lazily chew the grass, preparing themselves to sleep. A dusk fox is running together with a lynx, making playful screeches. Thankfully, you never have to intervene. You just sit there, watching the not-so-distant forest, trying to outlast your sleepiness. You can only guess how much time has passed. Once you feel you've had enough, you climb down and go to a tent, waking up the bearded man with just a couple of words. You confirm that nothing important has happened. I gather my things and squeeze into the tent. I use my bag as a pillow, put my blanket on the pallet, and cover myself with my cloak. Sleeping in a tent is not the stuff of dreams, but it's a much welcomed rest. The pallet keeps the cold soil away. The moonlight saves the outside world from eerie gloom. You listen to your own breath and find a comfortable position. Your job starts tomorrow. I focus on the real goal of my journey. The Merchant Guild wants to take control of this realm. Your wardening duties are secondary. First and foremost, you need to explore the peninsula, learn about the territory, resources and threats, get to know the locals, and, if you can, convince them to consider negotiations with Hovleven officials and traders. Could the tribes resist the soldiers, or be a threat to the priests of the United Church? Are there any forbidden practices that need to be eradicated, such as blood magic, necromancy, robbery, or slavery? At least I have time. 40 days to be exact. I need to be as thorough as I can. Once you finish your reconnaissance, you should speak with Tulia and return to Hovlevan. There you'll report back to your employers and get your reward. In the meantime, you have your own goal to pursue. I just want to help people, make this region safer for the locals and the newcomers alike. Your half-asleep senses are catching the sounds of the wild forest. Your instincts keep you alert and anxious, though the pleasant, humid, late summer air evens it out slowly. You're thinking about your goal, but you need to gather your strength. You can't travel during the night. Press the sleep button to rest. All I can do now is rest. Sleeping in a tent. You can spend the night in a borrowed tent. It's nothing special, but it will protect you from the wind and rain, and the ground won't be painfully hard, nor cold.